Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at, well, just an absolutely huge milestone in the tech world. On Wednesday, July 9, 2025, Nvidia, just one company, briefly did something no other publicly traded company ever has. It touched a $4 trillion market capitalization. Now, market cap, for anyone less familiar, that's basically the total value of all a company's shares out there. It's how we measure its size, its perceived worth, and $4 trillion. Just wow. Let that number sink in for a second. So our mission today is really to go beyond just that headline. We want to unpack this incredible journey. How did Nvidia get here? How does this valuation stack up against other global giants? We'll trace its, frankly, astonishingly rapid growth. And crucially, look at what might be next for a company that's really, right at the absolute heart of this AI revolution that's unfolding. We'll dig into the tech, the market drivers, the strategic plays that define its story. So yeah, setting the stage, Nvidia briefly hit $4 trillion. By mid-afternoon that day, July 9th, it had settled back just a bit to around $3.97 trillion. But even so, the scale of it is just genuinely hard to comprehend.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what makes it so compelling isn't just the number itself, huge as it is, but how rare it is. I mean, think about it. There are only, 10 companies in the entire world valued over $1 trillion.
Right. It's a very exclusive club.
Exactly. And the speed. Nvidia itself was worth less than $1 trillion just over 25 months ago. That kind of acceleration, hitting these massive milestones so quickly, it's almost unprecedented in corporate history.
It really does put them in a different stratosphere. But it's funny, thinking back just a few years, isn't it? Their market position was so different. Let's rewind a bit. For years, if you were a PC gamer, you absolutely knew Nvidia. Their GPUs, their graphics processing units were the gold standard, the absolute go-to if you wanted the best visuals. And then remember the crypto boom in the late 2010s?
Oh, yeah.
Their GPUs found this kind of surprising second life there because people figured out how to modify them for mining operations. But then something really fundamental shifted.
Absolutely. The real pivot, the game changer, was when generative AI burst onto the public scene, late 2022, early 2023. That's when Nvidia's stock just exploded.
Right.
And the core reason why their GPUs are so vital for AI, it comes down to the architecture. They're parallel processing chips. So unlike your standard CPU that handles tasks one after another, GPUs are built to juggle millions of simpler calculations all at the same time.
Simultaneously.
Exactly. And that parallel structure is precisely what AI models need, especially these huge large language models. For all that intense training and processing, they involve these vast networks, tons of computations that can just run side by side.
So it's not just that the hardware can do it, but they've managed this incredible optimization, or maybe it's a whole ecosystem around it. Is that combination, the hardware plus the ability to cluster them, what really cemented this dominance? Because the numbers are stark. John Petty research says Nvidia holds something like 92% of the AI market.
Wow, 92%.
That's almost a monopoly in a technology this fundamental.
Yeah.
What does that level of control mean, really, for AI innovation going forward, especially for smaller outfits trying to break in?
Precisely. It's that synergy you mentioned, hardware and software working together. It creates this formidable advantage. And for innovation, it often means innovation has to happen on NVIDIA's playground. They essentially own the picks and shovels for this AI gold rush. And you see this reflected in those market cap milestones. The story they tell is just incredible acceleration. They hit $1 trillion first on May 30, 2023. The stock just soared that year, up 239%.
Unbelievable.
Then, less than a year later, February 23, 2024, boom, $2 trillion. And then it gets even faster. Less than 4 months after that, June 5, 2024, they crossed $3 trillion. The stock was up 171% in 2024 overall. And then the latest jump from $3 trillion to $4 trillion, that took a little over a year. The stock rose another 20% in that period. What this rapid-fire succession shows is just sustained massive demand. It's consistently blown past expectations, all driven by this seemingly bottomless appetite for AI infrastructure.
So, okay, incredible growth, dominant position. What keeps the momentum going? What's fueling the next stage? We know the GPUs are still, flying off the shelves. CEO Jensen Huang talks about massive demand for their new Blackwell chips. Now, for people following closely, what's the practical leap from Hopper to Blackwell? They're supposedly 40 times more powerful. Is it just faster training, bigger models? Was that unlock?
Well, it's really all of those things, but the key is efficiency at scale. Yes, you train models faster, definitely, but it also lets you build much more sophisticated, much larger models, things that maybe weren't practical before because of the sheer compute power needed or the cost. So it actually pushes the frontier of AI research itself forward. And this connects to the bigger market opportunity ahead. I mean, companies are just racing to build out these enormous data centers. They need them to train the LLMs, the large language models, powering all these generative AI products.
Yeah.
And the projections for data center spending, they're huge. Expected to go from about $400 billion in 2024.
Which is already massive.
Already massive, to over $1 trillion in 2028.
$1 trillion a year on data centers.
It's on data center capital expenditures, yes. That's more than the GDP of many countries. And given Nvidia's lead, technologically and market share-wise, it seems very, very likely they'll capture the lion's share of that growth.
That sounds like an almost unassailable position. But doesn't that kind of dominance usually attract, serious competition or even regulators eventually? Are there any potential cracks in that lion's share idea? This is where that CUDA software platform comes in, isn't it? That seems critical.
That's a fair question. And yes, competition is definitely emerging. You see the big cloud companies trying to develop their own chips. But CUDA, that's Nvidia's ace in the hole. It creates this incredibly strong barrier. It's the whole toolkit the software environment developers use for AI on Nvidia GPUs. And it's been built up over, 15 years? It's the standard.
So it's sticky.
Extremely sticky. Once your team, your models, your entire workflow is built around CUDA. Switching isn't trivial. It's not just changing some code. It's a huge effort. Months, maybe years. Millions of dollars.
Wow.
It effectively locks in their customers for the long haul. It gives them a really significant moat against competitors.
Okay, so putting all this together, the path to $5 trillion, it sounds less like speculation and more like, a mapped out route.
Yep.
What would it actually take in terms of stock price to hit that next huge milestone?
Well, just doing the math, to get to a $5 trillion valuation, Nvidia's stock would need to climb another 25% by year-end, roughly $205 per share.
And it's not just us talking about it. Analysts are seeing this too. Barclays, for example. They already have a $200 price target on Nvidia. So it's definitely not seen as some wild pipe dream.
No, and the fundamentals, the actual financial performance, keeps backing it up. Look at the consensus analyst estimates for full-year earnings per share, $4.29. That's predicted to be a 66% jump from their fiscal 2025 earnings.
66% growth still.
Yeah. And look at Q1 of fiscal 2026, the quarter ending April 27, 2025. Revenue is up 69% year over year. These aren't slowing growth numbers. This is still high-velocity expansion.
And there's a potential catalyst coming up soon, right? The Q2 earnings report on August 27th. If they deliver another set of strong numbers like that, well, that could definitely pull the $5 trillion timeline forward. Maybe even to late this year.
It could, absolutely. The overall sentiment from the source material we looked at is pretty clear. One quote was, "It seems nearly certain that Nvidia will be a $5 trillion company sooner rather than later." Some analysts are even calling it, and this is quite a statement, the one stock I would buy and hold forever.
That's a lot of confidence.
It speaks volumes about their perceived long-term trajectory driven by this AI wave.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? Nvidia's incredible climb, hitting $4 trillion, is really anchored in its absolutely essential role in the AI revolution. It's their tech prowess, the GPUs, now Blackwell, combined with that strategic masterstroke, the CUDA software platform. It's this powerful, almost, locked-in combination that's put them in this extraordinary position. But here's a thought to leave you with. If one company can surge from under $1 trillion to $4 trillion in just over 2 years, basically by dominating a technology like AI that's evolving at lightning speed, what does that extreme pace tell us about the future? About innovation, about potential shifts in the global tech landscape, not just now, but in the next, say, 2 to 5 years. It feels like a whole new kind of technological race is underway, and the rules are changing incredibly fast. Definitely something to mull over.